Hello and welcome back to Meeple Village. Today we're going to be doing a full run through of Unmatched. This game is a game in which you can mix and match different characters from different expansions or sets that all belong to the Unmatched series. In this run through, I am playing Battle of Legends and I'm going to be putting two characters, Medusa and King Arthur, against each other to see who is victorious. So why don't you just join me at the table and let's play Unmatched. Alright guys, I have the game almost set up. Let's go over setup so that you know how to set it up when you play. So the game comes with a game board that is actually double-sided, and whatever side you decide to play on is up to you, completely up to you. Today I'm going to be playing on this side, which gives me some kind of boat, and then I guess he is docked over here in this kind of city ruins. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but it doesn't matter. What we care about are these circles, because those are going to be telling us what zones our characters are in. So zones are circles of the same color. So all of these green circles, they belong to the same zone. All of these yellow circles belong to the same zone. And notice that I am including circles that are two colors. As long as they have a little bit of yellow, they belong to the yellow zone. They also, this one for example, also belongs to the pink pink zone. So, or purple zone, whatever you want to call it. It looks pink over here, purple over here. I think it's the same one. And you can tell also because the symbols, the little texture on the inside is a little different for those of you that are colorblind. Basically, that is that. We have two players in this game, and we're going to be putting Medusa against King Arthur. And we have to put the fighters on the board. So since we've been talking about zones, let's go ahead and do that. Medusa is going to be first player because she's on my left, no other reason really. And she is going to be placed on the number 1 on the board. So there's a circle that has a number 1 next to it. It's tiny, it's hard to see. Let's see, it's right here. There's number 1. So she goes there. Now she also has to place her sidekicks, her I guess her companions. I believe they're called sidekicks in the game. She has 3 of these, and she knows that King Arthur is going to be on number 2. That's where he's going to go. We can actually go ahead and place him, although he doesn't need to place his sidekick until Medusa decides where these guys are going to go. She can place her sidekicks in any space in her own zone. So because she's in a blue zone, the harpies need to go on blue spaces. So with that in mind, we're going to just put them down here. I don't think it really matters. We'll just place them like so. And that is that for Medusa. Now King Arthur has 1 sidekick. It's Merlin, and Merlin has to go on a purple zone. So for example, if he wanted to, he could place Merlin right here, which means that Merlin would be adjacent to Medusa, because circles are adjacent to each other if they have a black line connecting them. So right now Merlin could be adjacent to Medusa, which might be a good thing. Merlin though is a range attacker, which means he can attack anyone that's on his zone. So with that in mind, he does need to get to the blue zone to attack Medusa, but Medusa might move. So I think Merlin is going to start down here next to his friend. Now let's take a look at I have the decks here. We do have to shuffle all those. So basically there's a card that tells you their powers, what special ability they have. They also tell you how much they move. We're going to look at all of that. But before I do that, let me go ahead and shuffle everyone's decks. So it's only 1 card that we need to leave aside. Everything else gets shuffled into 1 deck. And each player starts with 5 cards. So Medusa has her 5 cards already. And let's do the same for the king. Okay. And obviously, each character is very asymmetrical. They have their own deck with their own abilities, and their own ways of achieving victory. Also, some are ranged, some are melee attackers. Melee, of course, You need to be adjacent, connecting a circle to another circle. So you want to fight from adjacent spaces. And range, you can attack anything that is in the same zone as you are. Okay, so I have my health dials for Merlin, for my Medusa, and for King Arthur. The Harpies do not have a health dial. Let me show you all of that. It's all in the cards, well explained. First off, our first player, our hero, is Medusa. And she is a ranged attacker, so she can attack anybody that's in the same zone. And she starts with 16 health. All right, she can move 3. Of course, moving can be boosted. You'll see that in a minute. And at the start of your turn, you may deal 1 damage to 1 opposing fighter in Medusa's zone. So this triggers every turn. Unfortunately, right now, she's first player, and it will trigger at the start of the turn, deal 1 damage to 1 opposing fighter in her zone, but there's no one in her zone, no opposing character in her zone. But, moving on, Harpies, those are her minions. And here where it says start health, it just shows you that she starts with 3 of them. And they are melee attackers. They have to be adjacent. So what I've done is that I've set her health dial, her HP to 16, which is the max. You see that after that is 0. So she is at her max HP. Now our king is a melee fighter. He starts at 18 health. All right, he can move 2. And his special ability is that when King Arthur attacks, he may boost that attack. Play the boost card face down along with your attack card. If your opponent cancels the effects on your attack cards, the boost is discarded with that effect. Now, I know this might not make much sense to you right now, but once we start attacking, I will show you again and I will explain exactly what's going on, but just know that his attacks can be boosted. All right, and his sidekick is Merlin, who is ranged, and he starts with 7 health. So I've got King Arthur at his max health, which is 18. I like that they have that little yellow triangle there to remind you that's his starting health. And then Merlin starts at 7. All right, so everybody's set to go. Given everybody their starting hand of 5 cards, placed our fighters on the board. By the way, I've been calling them sidekicks, but they're all, this is our hero. So our main guy, Medusa, is our hero. King Arthur is the other player's hero. And all of them, Medusa included, King Arthur included, are called fighters. And that's important to know because some effects are going to, will be applied to all fighters, some fighters, one fighter. So it's important to know that they're all considered fighters. And then our 2 main guys are considered heroes. But with that, we're all set and we can go to gameplay. Medusa's going to go first, and if you flip this card, it gives you a nice reminder of what you can do on your turn. So during your turn, you must take 2 actions. You may choose 2 different actions or the same action twice. And also is reminding you not to forget your special ability, which you might, like for example, Medusa's is easy to forget. All right, so what are the 3 things that we can do? 2 actions every turn, we can pick out of these 3 things. First of all, a maneuver action. The first thing you do during a maneuver action is draw a card, and you have to draw a card. That's mandatory. And I will say that this is the only way, or actually the only way that you can draw a card. It's not the only way, but it's the safest way. Like whenever you do a maneuver, you're going to be drawing a card. Because we do not draw cards between turns. We do not refill our hand to a certain number. The only way we're getting new cards is with a maneuver action, or their abilities on other cards that let us draw. So back to the maneuver action. You draw a card, and then you move your fighters, which is optional. You don't have to move your fighters. Remember, fighters are all of the guys you have on the board. So when you do a maneuver action, you're going to be moving everybody. And the way you know how much they move is by looking at how much they move here. However, other than that 3 that Medusa can move, you may also discard 1 card to boost your move. And I'm sure you're going to be seeing that. I'll show you how that's done. But basically, cards have a little circle with a number in them, and that's the boost, how much they were boosted by. So that's one of the 3 actions that we could take. Another one is to scheme, and that is to play a lightning bolt card. And of course, those lightning bolt cards are going to have something written, a text written to let you know what that card does specifically. And then last but not least, you can attack. In order to attack, you're going to play either a damage, right? Straight out damage, or damage and defense cards. As long as they have the damage symbol, you can play any of those cards. You're going to play it face down. Only 1 card face down. And then, of course, you're going to see combat and you're going to see how the other player defends. But at the end of your turn, discard down to 7 cards. So you cannot have more than 7 cards on your hand. And remember, we don't get to draw. And also, if your deck ever runs out of cards, you do not reshuffle your deck and form a new deck. Instead, you start taking damage. Okay, so Medusa's ready. I have cards in my hand. At the beginning of her turn, remember, you may deal 1 damage to one opposing fighter in your zone, but there's no one in her zone. So what she's going to do then is, the first thing she's going to do is she's going to take a maneuver action. During a maneuver action, you have to draw a card. So I'm going to add another card to her hand. And then you can move all of your fighters. Remember, she has a move of 3. She doesn't really need to move 3. She's just going to move 1 because that will put her in the same zone as her opposing minions, fighters. The Harpies, though, they can move 3 as well. And what the Harpies want to do is they want to kind of block movement for everybody else. So 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, and 1, 2. I think I'm going to do that. That way it's really hard to get to her. He'll have to come around and to get to her, which, you know, it's that's fine with me. Let's see. So that was 1 out of the 2 actions that I can take. Now I'm going to take a second action, and looking at my cards, I'm going to do an attack action. Medusa, remember, is ranged, and so I can attack anybody that's in the same zone as me. So I'm in a purple zone, and so is my opponent, King Arthur. So I'm going to go ahead and start attacking King Arthur now. In order to attack, I need to pick one of my cards and place it face down. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm not going to show you all my cards because I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm just going to play and show you later on. When you get more familiar with what's going on, I'll start showing you what I got. So I am going to go ahead and play this card face down. And then I'm going to wait for my opponent to defend. Now, the way my opponent can defend, and I'll show you that. This is King Arthur's hand. He can play 1 card that has a defense, a shield symbol. So that one. Now there's something else that he needs to be aware of. Medusa is attacking King Arthur, so he needs to play a card that can be played by King Arthur or by anybody. So all of these cards, they will be legal for him to play right now and defend, and they're all going to have something that happens. There's 3 times where things can happen. Things can happen immediately, like this one, cancel all effects on your opponent's card. They can happen then after immediately, we go and resolve during combat effects. And then after during combat effect, we will resolve after combat effects. So let's see. Do I want to defend big or not so big? I have no idea what my opponent is playing. You can also play this one, which is only for King Arthur, but this is not, right now, it's not the right place to play this because it says if King Arthur has 4 or less health, but it's not defeated, that's not going to happen. He's at full health. So we'll save Holy Grail for later. I think I'm going to go with the middle round right here. Momentous shift. Your fighter started this turn. Actually, no, this one is good for him to attack with because this 3 turns into a 5 and he started at a different place. So let's see. Do I want the 2 or the 4? I don't necessarily, yeah, you know what, I'm going to play this one because I get to move her, and if I can move her closer to me, then I might be able to attack her next turn. So now you see what I'm defending with. All right, so I place my card face down as well, and now that we've done that, we're going to reveal both cards and, well, see what happens. So I'm going to reveal them. We already know King Arthur's, and there's Medusa. So let me show you up close. Let me resolve combat and see how much damage King Arthur takes, if any. Okay, so just looking straight at the cards, it would look like Medusa was not able to attack King Arthur because she has a 3 and King Arthur is defending with a 4. Now the way it would work is that you would subtract this number from that number, and that's how much damage he would suffer. So let's say that this was a 6. He was defending with a 4, then King Arthur would be taking 2 damage because 6 minus 4 is 2. However, yeah, it looks bad, right, for Medusa, but that's not all we're going to do. Remember I told you about these abilities? First, we resolve any immediate abilities. We don't have any. Then, during combat abilities. and her during combat ability is that you may boost this attack. So Medusa is going to go ahead and boost this attack. Now she knows she's got to beat a 4, so she's going to boost it with this card. Now all we're going to look at is this number down here, nothing else. So now she's at 6. She's got 3 from this card and 3 from the boost, and she has resolved her ability. Now apparently, Arthur's taking 2 damage. Let's see what his after combat ability says. If you won the combat, which he didn't, choose one of your fighters in the combat and move them up 2 spaces. So this ability we ignore because he did not win the combat. Arthur is taking 2 damage. First blood. Now every card that was played gets discarded. So you have to be careful because it's very easy to run out of cards in this game and then you have no defense. So I'm going to have Medusa discard right here next to her deck and King Arthur here. And we're going to lower King Arthur to 16 health. And with that, Medusa has finished her turn. Like I said, we do not refill at the end of her turn. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4 cards left. So it's not bad. Now King Arthur gets to do something heroic. What is he gonna do? First thing we're going to do is we're going to play one of his lightning bolt cards, which is a scheme card. He's going to play the Lady of the Lake. Search your deck and discard pile for the Excalibur card. Excalibur card. Add it to your hand. If you search your deck, shuffle it. Excalibur is probably his strongest attack, so I want to have it in my hand ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and discard the Lady of the Lake and search my deck for Excalibur. Let's see. And there it is. We'll shuffle everything else. Excalibur is a straight up 6 at attacking. I can't use it right now because I cannot attack. This is only for King Arthur. Merlin cannot use it, and I am not adjacent to Medusa or to any of the harpies. So I'll have to save it for later. Now, you have to remember, Medusa knows that I did this, so she might want to keep some high defense cards around to protect herself or her harpies. Now, for my second action, I'm going to maneuver because I want more cards in my hand. So first, I'm going to draw a card, and then I'm going to move 2, 1, 2, trying to get closer. Remember, I can boost my move. I just don't know if I want to get rid of my cards so quickly. So for now, I'm just going to stay here. And then Merlin is going to move 1. Let's see. Is he? Or should he? 1, 2. Should we follow? Because he's ranged. So right now he could attack. Yeah, we're going to leave him right there. And that's it for Merlin. For King Arthur, he didn't do much this turn, but he's getting set up to do big things in the future. We're back to Medusa and her 4 cards. Does she want to attack? And I think she will. She's in the same zone as King Arthur, so she's going to declare an attack, and she's going to play this. Now King Arthur needs to find a defense card. Let's see. Okay, and I found a card to defend with. Now let's go to resolving combat. Everybody reveals their cards. Okay, let me show you what happened during this combat. So Medusa has a 3 against a 2, so she's already hitting at least for 1 apparently. Now let's resolve the abilities immediately. Cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So this happens first, so whatever was happening here is canceled, and that's so sad because she was going to be able to boost this attack again. But she won't be able to because it's, canceled. But 3 minus 2 is still 1, so King Arthur does get 1 damage. So these cards get discarded, and King Arthur is going down to 15 health, and she still has 1 more action. I think she's done great. Can she attack again? She wants to run. Let's see. I think she's going to maneuver. She's running low on cards. She knows Excalibur is coming. She's going to draw 1 card, and then she gets to move. Everybody gets to move. They get to move 3. I know this guy is still far away. This guy can hit me though. So I'm just going to move 1, 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and move the harpies. 1, 2, and this girl's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That way I'm kind of blocking King Arthur. He has to get through my minions first. But with that, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and have King Arthur take a turn. Let's see. He's over here. Merlin's over here. What's going to happen next? All right. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to maneuver. Having cards is going to be very helpful. Let's see. And then I think, let's see. Merlin is going to attack the harpy. Oh, we can move. Let's see. Where can we move to? Well, I know these harpies are getting in my way. And here's the thing, when you move, you can move through your own friendly figures, but you cannot move through opponents' figures, fighters. Which means that up here, I'm getting blocked, and over here, I'm getting blocked. So they're doing a really good job at blocking me. This guy is mostly blocked also. Let's see, I'm going to move 1, 2, so that I get away from everyone's zone and kind of see what the plan is for these girls. And then Merlin is going to move 1, kind of keeping King Arthur protected. And that was my first action. For my second action, Merlin, who's a range attack, is going to go after this little harpy. So Merlin plays that. And then let's see, can the harpy defend? All right, I've chosen my cards. Let's reveal. Okay, looks like the harpy will be able to defend, but let's check it out. Let's look at them up close. So it's 3-1. So Merlin, who is the attacker, is not going to be inflicting damage on the harpy unless something changes it down here, but I don't think so. Let's see. We'll both have after combat abilities. I believe the attacker goes resolves first. So after combat, draw 1 card. If you won the combat, which you did, and you would draw 2. So at least we're drawing 1 card. And then dash. After combat, move your fighter up to 3 spaces. So the harpy's moving, and Merlin is drawing a card. Okay, so we discard both of our cards. The harpy is still alive. They're little, but they're persistent. We get to draw another card, and the harpy gets to move 3. So 1, 2, 3, threatening our king. And with that, King Arthur is finished. So we go back and we see what Medusa and her fighters can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have this harpy declare an attack against King Arthur. They're really going at him. And then King Arthur needs to defend. Okay, so there's my defense card. Let's reveal. Okay, looks like Arthur's able to defend. Let's check it out from up close. All right, the harpy shoots for 3, and King Arthur defends. And notice that this card is a harpy card, so Medusa could not have played this card. Has to be a harpy. Yeah, but it looks like he's okay. Let's see. What is after combat? The attacker first. After combat, your opponent discards 1 card. Oh, that is a pain. And then for King Arthur, after combat, if you won the combat, which he did, choose one of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 2 spaces. Okay, so we put these away. Now I have to discard a card. So let's see. I don't know if I can get the Holy Grail back, but it seems like I'm not going to be using it for a while. So, ooh, this is painful, but I will get rid of the Holy Grail. That hurts. All right. Yeah, that hurts a lot, but I think we're going to go with it. And then, yeah, discarding cards in this game is like the most painful thing that you can. I think it's worse than getting damage. And then one of these fighters, the ability said that I can move one of the fighters involved in the combat up to, was it 2 spaces? Move them up to 2 spaces. So, do I want to move the king and start going towards where I need to be going? I think I will. 1, 2, we'll leave the harpy behind. And that was the first action for Medusa, attacking with the harpy, and now she's really low on cards, so we will maneuver. I'm gonna get 1 more card. Okay, everybody can move 3, so why not? 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3 really block these guys from getting anywhere. 1, 2, sure. And then Medusa, which needs to be on a yellow to hit this guy. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sure. She's not afraid of him. So that was it for Medusa though, because the harpy attacked and then Medusa did a maneuver action. So we go back to King Arthur, who's blocks. So let's see. You know, he's got Excalibur in his hand, but I don't want to use Excalibur on a little minion like that. And if I maneuver, I'm not going to be able to get too far. Even if I boost it, I don't want to boost it and lose cards. That's the thing in this game. Yes, you can boost your movement, but then it's not you're wasting card, but you're losing cards. But they've got me trapped. I think my first action is going to be for King Arthur to hit one of these girls. I'm going to hit this harpy. So King Arthur is attacking the harpy that's next to him. And there's his attack card. Now can the harpy defend? Okay, there's my defense. And we flip them. Okay, let's see how we did. So King Arthur attacks for 3. They defend for 2. Looks like King Arthur has it. Let's see. We are going to first do the immediate effects and cancel all effects. So this effect is canceled, which is okay because it wasn't going to trigger anyways. In the meantime, 3 minus 2 is 1. Now you will notice the harpies don't have any health. So any hit, just even one single hit, will defeat them. These cards get discarded, and after a lot of work, we've gotten rid of one harpy. And that is his first action. Now he can take another action. Let's see. I think I'm going to maneuver and draw a card. And whoops, I drew a card from the wrong deck. That's King Arthur. There we go. All right, and then everybody can move 2, or I can move a little bit more, but I think 2 is good. We're going to, I wish I could go this way, but I can't. Let's go 1. No, there's no passing through here. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Harpy can get to me, but she'll have to maneuver. And then this guy is going to threaten. Should we? I want to get in fight with this harpy. Sure, let's fight with the harpy. He's going to be here so that he can, what do you call it? Threaten with 3 different zones. Everybody on the yellow, everybody on the purple, everybody's being threatened. Okay, so with that, I finish my turn. We go back to Medusa, who's up there with the harpies. What can they do? Right, she's going to maneuver, draw a card, because she doesn't have much in her hand right now. Don't tell that to King Arthur. And who wants to move? Let's move 1. I don't think she needs to move. 1, 2. That way she'll be at 2 zones. But that's her maneuver action. And then for her next action, actually, I'm going to move her 1, 2, 3. Because for my next action, the harpy is going to attack King Arthur. So there's that. Can King Arthur defend? He cannot. The cards that he has in his hand are not going to let him defend. That's an attack card, not a defense card. That's an attack card, and this is a defense card, but it can only be used by Merlin. So King Arthur has to take whatever the harpy is throwing his way. So we reveal, and the harpy is hitting Merlin for 3. Clutching Claws. After combat, your opponent discards 1 card. On top of that, he's going to be discarding a card. This hurts. So King Arthur is taking 3 damage. He really needs to start getting up close and personal. So he's going to go from 15 down 3 all the way to 12, really feeling the hurt. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he also has to discard one of his precious cards. Ow. I guess we're going to discard this defense card, which is terrible. I really like that card, but can discard Excalibur. Alright, so that's it for Medusa. She maneuvered, and then the harpy attacked. We're going back to King Arthur, who really needs to start moving. Oh, well, first, I'm going to attack this harpy. Let's see, can she defend? Running low on cards, and she cannot. She has the same predicament. All of the cards she has, they're defense cards, but they can only be used by Medusa. King Arthur reveals 3 damage, which is more than enough to get rid of the harpy, and then Swift Strike. After combat, move your fighter up to 4 spaces. We defeat the harpy, and then after combat I can move up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get up close and personal with Medusa. I still can attack her. Unfortunately, I'm still not there, but I am still holding Excalibur. It's the only card I'm holding in my hand. So with that said, I'm going to do another maneuver action so that I can get more cards. I have a Merlin card. So everybody can move up to 2. And 1, 2. Let's get up close and personal with her. And then this guy, 1, 2, can still attack, but the harpy needs to come to me if she wants a piece of me. Now let's go back to Medusa's turn. All I have are Medusa's cards. They're both defense cards. Cannot attack. So let's maneuver. Draw another card. Okay, it's a harpy card. So with that in mind, let's move 1, 2, move closer to this guy, and then let's have her run away. 1, 2, 3 to the green zone. All right, so that's 1, and then for the second action, the harpy is going to attack Merlin because we got a harpy card. And can Merlin defend? No, he cannot. He has a Merlin card, but it's not a defense card. Yeah, this Merlin card is a scheme card, so it doesn't help him defend. And this is a King Arthur card, and it's not even a defense card. So Merlin is going to take some damage. We reveal the harpy is doing 4 damage to Mr. Merlin. That's a lot. The Hounds of Mighty Zeus. After combat, move each harpy up to 3 spaces. Okay, so I discard my harpy card. Now Merlin is going to be taking 4 damage. So Merlin is going down 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the way to 3 health. And then all the harpies can move up to 3 spaces. Of course, we only have 1 harpy left, but she probably wants to move away from Merlin, away from that zone. I wish she could go this way, but we'll go this way. 1, 2, 3. At least she's now in the yellow zone. And with that, let's see. We are done. She took a maneuver action and now an attack action from the harpy. We go back to King Arthur. Alright, it is King Arthur's turn. He has 2 cards on his name. He's got to put the hurt on this girl, so he's going to take a maneuver action. However, I'm going to boost it this time. First thing we do, draw a card. And this is my boost card. It's not the one I drew. And let me show you how that works. So during the maneuver action, draw a card. I did that. And then move your fighters, which is optional. And you may discard 1 card to boost your move. I'm going to discard this card to boost it up to 2 more. So instead of moving my usual 2, I can move everybody 4. And I discard that card. I see that Medusa only has 2 cards in her hand, so I'm trying to take advantage of that and attack her with Excalibur, see if we can finally put some damage on her. So 1, 2, and 3, so that I'm adjacent to her. And Merlin can also move 3, so 1, 2, actually 4, 3. There's nothing that has the green, so I'm going to be here so I can attack the harpy. And also don't be so far off so that I can go help King Arthur if needed. Now that was my first action. For my second action, you know it, I'm going to use that Excalibur. So I'm going to attack Medusa because I'm adjacent to her. Can she defend? And the answer is yes, she can defend. She has the same card twice in her hand, so she's going to have to use that as her defense. Let's reveal. And she has a 4 defense, which looks really good. Let's see. So Excalibur doesn't have any other abilities. Also remember, I can boost this attack, and I could play a card face down as a boost to this attack. And of course, I should have done that before I did all this. I just forget about his ability. I've been forgetting about Medusa's ability as well. Hopefully, I'll remember. I will remember hopefully next turn. In any case, the reason why I can do this is because of King Arthur's special ability. When King Arthur attacks, you may boost that attack. Place the boost card face down along with your attack card. That's why I'm doing that. So my attack of 6, when revealed, becomes an attack of 9. 6 from my attack card and 3 from my boost. This does not use. So right now we're looking at 5 damage. Now Medusa, after combat, your opponent discards 1 card. However, I have no more cards left. And that's actually really dangerous because now Medusa knows I am defenseless. I can do nothing against her. But in the meantime, I do hit her for 5, which is the first time we've ever hit her. So our cards get discarded, my cards get discarded. If I can find another Lady of the Lake and bring Excalibur back, that would be great. In the meantime, Medusa's going to take 5 damage. So that's going to put her down to 11, making the game a little bit more even. Of course, knowing that that took all of my resources, that's no fun. But the good thing is I know Medusa only has 1 card in her hand, and I don't know this, but it's not even an attack card. In any case, King Arthur's finished because he used the maneuver action, boosted that maneuver action, moved up to 4 spaces, all of his fighters, and then King Arthur attacked Medusa with his sword and finally got some damage through. So he's done. Now it's back to Medusa. Now I'm finally going to remember her ability, which I've been forgetting all game long. Obviously, I apologize for that. Let's see if I can remember from now on. But her ability is that at the start of your turn, you may deal 1 damage to 1 opposing fighter in Medusa's zone. So it might have triggered before, and I just didn't remember to trigger it. But right now, King Arthur and Medusa are on the same zone, so we can do 1 damage. And I could not do that to Merlin because Merlin is not in the same zone as me. But if he was, then I could pick between either King Arthur or Merlin taking that 1 damage. Now I'm going to put King Arthur at 11, and I haven't even taken any actions yet. And now we're tied, 11 to 11. Let's see. Medusa has 1 card. We both know, we don't both know. Medusa knows that she cannot attack with this. It's a defense card. So, of course, she's going to maneuver, which is going to let her draw 1 card. And she did get an attack card. Now she can move up to 3 spaces, or she can discard and move more. I think she wants to hold on to her cards. With 3 spaces, let's see. She needs to run away. 1, 2, 3. Now she knows King Arthur doesn't move as fast as she does. So he'll have to boost his move. He has no cards. So she feels pretty safe there. She's not in Merlin's zone. And then 3 from here. 1, 2, 3. Let's kind of... Well, I know King Arthur is going to move. But let's threaten him. Let's threaten him a little bit. Okay, so with that... That's her first action. For her second action, does she want to attack? I know he has no cards. So I think so. I think the Harpy is going to challenge Mr. Merlin. Not Mr. Merlin, Mr. King Arthur. King Arthur has nothing that he can do, so she reveals it's only a 1, but the ability is kind of cool. Again, the Harpy is able to do this because this card will work as an attack or defense card for any. And then her ability is Regroup, which happens after combat. Draw 1 card. If you won the combat, which she did, draw 2 cards instead. So we get rid of this card. King Arthur takes 1 damage, putting him down to 10. And now because we won that combat, we get 2 cards into our hand. And with that, now we're finished. Maneuver and then attack. Go back to King Arthur. Let's see. King Arthur has no cards, so maneuver it is. Let's see what he gets. He got an attack and defense. So, all right. Where do we want to go? We're going to want to go here. And Merlin is going to want to go here because he's ranged. And then we're going to... We can attack with Merlin. So... But yeah, if you want to attack Merlin, we'll put him here as a decoy. If Medusa wants to take her time attacking Merlin, so be it. And then we're going to, of course, maneuver again so we can get a little bit more cards into our hand. And where do we want to go? Sure, we'll threaten her here and here. Sure, let's do that. And with that, they're finished. So back to Medusa, who has a ton of cards in her hand. Let's see. I think we're going to have the Harpy, who's a ranged attacker. Oh no, she's melee. I'm sorry, Medusa's but Medusa's right next to King Arthur, so why not? Let's attack him. So we're gonna play that. Can King Arthur defend? And we can defend. So we're gonna use that one to defend. We reveal, and it looks like no damage will be taken, but let's see what the abilities are. Alright, both of them have after combat abilities, so I think the king is fine for now. Now the attacker after combat is going to draw one card, and King Arthur after combat, he can move up to 5 spaces. Alright, so that's a lot of movement coming his way. Medusa though takes a card, which is probably a better ability. Let's see, can I get out of this zone? Do I even want to move 5? I mean, I'm right where I want to be, and I'm not in her zone. But the harpy can come to me. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll move 4. We'll stand right there. So that was Medusa's first action, which was the harpy. No, the Medusa attacked me because she was adjacent. And then for the next action, can she attack me again? Because I'm right here. I can. I say why not? You're right here. I'm running it down on cards, but hey, if we can get him dead, we don't need the cards. Can he defend? Yes, he can. I think he has to, but then he won't have cards. I think he won't. He has an attack card in his hand. If I use it, I won't. I want to attack Medusa with this, but if I don't defend, I'm getting... Okay, I'll use it and hope to maneuver, and then... That card was good, though. But let's do it like this. All right, do we get hurt? We do not, apparently, but there's an immediate ability. Let's check it out. So it's 2 against 3, but the immediate ability reads cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So this card is not going to have an effect. We were going to use it. We weren't going to use it anyways, so it's no big deal. No one draws cards, nobody moves. We just end Medusa's turn. Okay, of course that means that King Arthur is again cardless. By the way, I again forgot, didn't I, that anybody in her zone could have suffered 1 damage. Well, I don't think they were in her zone. He was in the green zone and he was over here, I believe. I could be wrong, of course. I really do have to remember Medusa's starting of turn ability. Anyways, we are going to King Arthur, who's going to maneuver so he can draw a card. Okay, and I wonder if you can do 1, 2, and come back. I don't think that's cool. I don't know. So I don't think I want to move because I need to attack her. I'll move Merlin out of the way. Sure. And then for my second action, I'm going to declare an attack against Medusa. Can she defend? Apparently yes. Let's use... Nope, I can't use that. Okay, so we reveal Medusa is defending 4, and I couldn't boost my attack because I don't have any more cards. Let's see what happens with the abilities. Alright, so during combat, if you're we're doing the during combat first. If your fighter started this turn at a different space, which he didn't, it would have turned into a 5. However, I don't know that I can just move back and forth, and he would have been in the same space as when he started, so this wouldn't have triggered unless... If I think about that, let's just check this out. In order to get me that 5, what I could have done is move him out of the way, which I did, and then he would have been here. And that way, I would have been in a different space, which means that this card will be a 5. So that would have been smart if I would have thought about it. So let's pretend I was smart. Don't tell anybody that I wasn't. Yeah, there's always a way to look at this. There's always a way to manipulate the board to your advantage. So this is a 5 then, because now he's in a different space than when he started the turn, and she's only defending for 4, so she's going to get 1 damage unless after combat your opponent discards 1 card. Yeah, that's not going to help her. First of all, I have no more cards, so that effect is not going to have much of an effect. And Medusa does get 1 damage. Okay, so we discard everything, and now Medusa is down to 10, but again, King Arthur has no cards. And at the beginning of Medusa's turn, which is right now, King Arthur and Merlin are both in the same zone, so I can deal 1 damage to one of my opposing fighters. I will, of course, give it to King Arthur and put him down to 9. Okay, and then for my first action, I'm going to maneuver. So it's going to do this, and then everybody can move 3. 1, 2. I don't need to be right next to him. I can attack him from ranged. And then 1, 2, 3. Let's move our harpy a little closer. And then for my second action, I'm going to play a scheme card that just fell into my hands. I will play a momentary glance. And I know it's a scheme card because it has the lightning bolt. And deal 2 damage to any one fighter in Medusa's zone. So that's 2 more damage coming your way, King Arthur. So I discard that, and just like that, King Arthur is down to 7 health. Nothing he could do about that. But with that, is Medusa's turn is finished because she maneuvered, grabbed that card, or drew that card that she played then as her second action. So King Arthur has to maneuver, no much choice there, and he gets a Merlin. Um, he gets a Merlin card. What does this say? It says choose any space in Merlin's zone. Deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter in that space and in one adjacent space. If at least one fighter is defeated this way, draw 1 card. Actually, that kind of plays very nicely because she is in the same zone as Merlin and there's someone adjacent. So we're going to play that card in a minute. First, I'm going to move Mr. King Arthur, and then I'm going to move Merlin 2 spaces, leaving him in the blue zone so that this card can trigger. For my second action, I'm going, and it's funny, I keep putting Merlin right on the top of the action, but if I don't, how am I going to attack Medusa? He is a melee attacker. Alright, I'm going to play Restless Spirits. Choose any space in Merlin's zone, so I choose this space. Deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter in that space. It's funny, to each opposing fighter in that space. Every space can only occupy 1 fighter, so I don't know why they worded it like that. And then in 1 adjacent space. So that means that Medusa is going to take 2 damage, bring her down to 8. And then adjacent, the Harpy is going to take 2 damage, which actually defeats her. And it says, if at least 1 fighter is defeated this way, draw 1 card. So Merlin is going to draw us a card, which might be a defense card. It's not. It's a prophecy. And it's another Merlin card. Oh, we'll have to hold on to that. Medusa doesn't know that. But with that, we're finished. We took a maneuver, and then we played a scheme. Back to Medusa, who's right here. At the beginning of her turn, she can hurt someone in the same zone. 1 damage. I need to remember that, and I need to start getting away, like being adjacent, but not right on top of her in the same zone, because I'm going to lose just because of that ability, starting ability, which I keep forgetting about. All right, so all I have in my hand is a Harpy card, which obviously I have no more Harpies, so I can't really play this card. So Medusa's going to maneuver then. Okay, and she got one of those scheme cards again. That's going to hurt, so I can't move out of that zone. And yeah, I'm gonna have to stay there. And then we're gonna play a scheme card. So once again, a momentary glance. And I should tell you that down here, it tells you what deck this card belongs to. If you ever somehow put them all, they all get out of place. The backing should help because this is Medusa's back, but also here it tells you what deck they're from and how many are there in the deck. So I know that there's 2 momentary glances. So after this one, I shouldn't be getting any more of these cards because I already played one not too long ago. But in the meantime, we're going to deal 2 damage to any fighter that is in my zone. And King Arthur is still in my zone because he keeps following me around, so that brings me down to 4 health. But with that, Medusa is done. Now King Arthur can go do something. All he has is a Merlin card. We're going to go ahead and play the Merlin card. I'm going to have Merlin play his scheme card, and it says Prophecy. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 2 of them to your hand and put the other 2 back on top of your deck in any order. So we're finally going to have some cards into our hands. Of course, I'm hoping if we get an attack card, I'm still right here, which means that I can attack Medusa. I'm going to get hurt again because I'm still in the same zone if I don't run away. So it'll depend on what cards I get. So I get to look at the top 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get 2 into my hand, and then 2 I can place back in any order I want. So let's see what I got. I have a Merlin card to move fighters. I have a regroup card that's going to help me draw cards. I have a little bit better attack. And if I win the combat, I can move, so maybe I can move out of the zone. And okay, I think I'm going to attack with this one, with my skirmish, which means I'm going to keep my skirmish in my hand. And if I want to boost it, my best boost is actually Merlin's card, so I'll keep that. And then I know I'm getting defense and after that. So I'm going to just leave it like this and put these 2 on top of my deck. So that was my scheme action, first action. For my second action, yes, you know it, I'm going to attack Medusa with that card, and this is my boost card right there. Can Medusa defend? Yes, no, she can't, because she has a defense card, but it's a heartbeat card. So she has to take whatever damage comes her way. Let's reveal. Okay, I reveal a 4. Let's also reveal the boost. Let's go check it out. So this was the card that I played for combat, so I'm hitting her for 4. Anybody can do that. We have an after combat ability, but more important, we have boosted it by 2, so it's 6 damage coming Medusa's way. And then after combat, if you won the combat, which I did, choose one of the fighters in the combat and move them up to 2 spaces. So I need to get out of the zone, either by moving me or by moving Medusa out of the blue zone. So first things first, I might not have any more cards, but Medusa is going down. I have managed to bring her all the way down to 2 health with that attack. So almost there. And now I get to, well, move either King Arthur or Medusa 2 spaces. So if I move King Arthur, I can go to the green zone. That will make it so that Medusa cannot inflict that 1 damage at the beginning of the turn. Or I can move her. Now I want to, just in case, leave her in the same zone as Merlin, because I'm still just trying to use him as decoy. Like, it's easy for her to attack him, so by all means, you know, he's kind of like my blocker. So I'm gonna move King Arthur out of the way. And with that, King Arthur is finished. No more cards as usual. And the deck is starting to run low, but not yet. We'll go back to Medusa. Her start of the turn ability triggers. I remember this time. Of course, now it doesn't trigger because, actually it does. With that in mind, then I need to move her out of the way because, yes, of course, it doesn't trigger for me, but she will be hitting Merlin, and I don't want to hit Merlin if I don't have to. So I guess instead we'll move her with that ability that I got after combat ability. Move her out of the way, that way she doesn't hit any of my fighters. Okay, now Medusa's turn. Her ability doesn't trigger because she's in a yellow zone and there's no opposing characters there. Let's see. She has a Harpy card, which she can't play anymore, so she's going to maneuver, draw a card, and let's see. She does have an attack, and he has no cards, so let's do it. 1, 2, we're back in his zone. Of course, I'm getting real close to him, which I don't love it, but I'm going to attack him. He has no defense, no cards, so it is Feint. Okay, immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, but my opponent has no cards, so it's a straight 2 damage. This game is really tight. We're both tied at 2 health. Alright, this card gets discarded now. I really have been playing offense a lot and not much defense. Medusa probably should be careful. The card she has, she can't defend with. So if King Arthur manages to do 2 damage to her, that's it, it's game over for her. But she knows he has no cards, so he'd have to draw that, what do you call it, that card that will let him attack her. So of course, it is now King Arthur's turn, so let's see if he does. He's going to draw a card, and actually, yeah, there it is. Of course, he doesn't know this because he thinks maybe she can attack, but he's got to try, right? It's only 2 health. He sees that he has an attack of 2 that can be done by any, so Merlin can hit her, he can hit her, they can move also, so you know what? With that in mind, I'm going to have Merlin attack her. And I'm going to move out of her zone so that I don't get hurt by that attack, that 1 damage at the beginning of her turn. Because again, I don't know that she can defend and that she's going to, will be defeated now. So I'm going to let Merlin do the attack, and Merlin can take that hit at the beginning of Medusa's next turn. In the meantime, that was my first action maneuver. Merlin is just going to stay here blocking, although you know, all Medusa needs is to get to the green zone. She has range attack, but he needs to stay on the blue zone so he's able to attack, which is going to be our next action. Merlin is going to declare an attack against Medusa, and there's his card face down. Medusa says, oh, I'm in trouble now. This card I cannot use. It is a defense card, it has a shield, but it can only be used by the Harpy. So Medusa has to take whatever damage comes her way, and the sorcerer has done it. It's 2 damage coming her way, can be used by anybody, and of course there's an ability that triggers immediately, but it doesn't matter. Cancel all effects on your opponent's cards. There is no opponent card. Medusa takes the last 2 damage and is defeated. Discard the card, Medusa goes down, and that's it. King Arthur did it with only 2 health on him, 3 health on Merlin. but they managed to do it. I will say I played the game a few times with these heroes, and Medusa always wins. So I don't even know how that happened. I think Medusa wasn't patient. She was more on an offensive, and she lost a lot of cards, and that's what brought her down. But in any case, there you have it. That was a full run through of uh, Unmatched. All right, guys, there you have it. That was a full run through of Unmatched Battle of Legends. It was a tight game. I think I forgot Medusa's abilities a few times, so maybe the outcome would have been different if I was paying a little bit more attention to Medusa's starting ability. But now you know that that's something that can happen if you're not paying attention. So be sure to remember those abilities. But in the meantime, it was a fierce fight to the end, and King Arthur was the winner. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. If you recommend any of the Unmatched sets, please leave me a comment below. I am looking to expand my collection and put some more heroes against each other. Also, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, where we let you know what games are coming next and post pictures of your favorite board games. I will see you guys on the next game, but until then, may you play more games.